In the early 2010s, pop music was changing fast. Social media was becoming a powerful engine for fame. Fan communities were moving from bedroom walls to online timelines, and a new generation of listeners wanted stars who felt close enough to follow in real time. Into that moment came One Direction, an English-Irish boy band that would become one of the biggest pop acts of the decade. Made up of Niall Horan, Liam Payne, Harry Styles, Louis Tomlinson, and Zayn Malik, the group did not begin as childhood friends or a band formed in a garage. Their origin was more unusual, and in many ways, perfectly suited to the era. They were assembled on television, introduced to millions through a competition format, then launched into global fame by fans who treated every performance, interview, and social media post like an event. Their story is not just about catchy songs. It is about timing, image, fandom, marketing, and the rare chemistry that can turn a manufactured act into a cultural phenomenon. One Direction formed in London in 2010 on the British singing competition show The X Factor. At first, the 5 future members auditioned as solo contestants. Each had a different voice, personality, and style, but none of them advanced in the competition as individual performers in the way they hoped. Instead of sending them home, the judges made a decision that changed pop history. They were placed together as a group. This kind of assembly was not new in the music business, especially for boy bands, but the public nature of it was important. Viewers got to see the origin story happen almost in real time. The band's identity was not hidden behind mystery or distance. Fans watched them improve, joke around, and begin to develop their dynamic week by week. Even before they released a single, audiences were already emotionally invested in their journey. Although One Direction did not win the X Factor, winning was not the most important outcome. What mattered was visibility, connection, and momentum. The show gave them a national platform, but social media gave them something bigger, a direct relationship with fans. Platforms like Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube helped supporters spread clips, quotes, photos, and inside jokes at incredible speed. This made One Direction feel less like distant celebrities and more like personalities fans could grow with. Their appeal came from the combination of polished pop ambition and approachable charm. Each member had a recognizable role in the group dynamic, allowing fans to choose favorites while still supporting the band as a whole. That sense of personal connection helped transform casual viewers into a highly organized global fanbase. The result was a new kind of pop stardom, where online enthusiasm could translate into chart success, ticket sales, and international demand. The band's debut single, What Makes You Beautiful, became the breakthrough moment that turned potential into proof. Released in 2011, the song captured the bright, youthful, high-energy sound that defined their early era. Its message was simple, direct, and perfectly designed for teenage pop. The person being sung to is beautiful because they do not realize it. Musically, it was upbeat and instantly memorable, with a chorus that worked in headphones, on radio, and in arenas. The single reached #1 on the UK singles chart and became an international success. More importantly, it established One Direction's brand, optimistic, romantic, and accessible. The song was not trying to be complicated. It was trying to be undeniable. It gave fans an anthem, gave radio a hit, and gave the music industry a clear signal that this group was not just a television novelty. Their first album, Up All Night, released in 2011, pushed One Direction from breakout act to international chart force. It became especially significant in the United States, where the group made history as the first British act to have a debut album enter the Billboard 200 at #1. That achievement mattered because the American market had often been difficult for British pop groups to fully conquer. One Direction did not arrive through a slow traditional build, they entered with intense fan anticipation already in place. The album mixed energetic pop songs, romantic lyrics, and youthful confidence, giving listeners a complete version of the group's early identity. At this stage, critics could still question whether the band would last, but commercially, the answer was already becoming clear. They were selling records, dominating online conversation, and turning a reality show origin into a global pop launchpad. What made One Direction's rise remarkable was how quickly success repeated. Their next albums, Take Me Home in 2012, Midnight Memories in 2013, and Four in 2014, all debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. That made them the first band to have their first 4 albums debut at the top of that chart. This was not just a lucky first wave of excitement, it was sustained global demand. Each album cycle kept the fanbase engaged while slightly expanding the band's sound. The early bubblegum brightness gradually made room for bigger choruses, more rock-influenced production, and songs that reflected the members growing older. The pace was intense. Albums, singles, videos, interviews, and tours arrived with little pause. For fans, it felt like constant access. For the band, it meant living inside a non-stop machine of promotion and performance. By the middle of the decade, One Direction were not just releasing hit records, they were filling stadiums. Their tours became a central part of their legacy because they proved the scale of the phenomenon in physical space. Fan hysteria around the group was often compared to Beatlemania, not because their music was identical to the Beatles, but because of the intensity of the public reaction. Crowds screamed, camped out, trended hashtags, and treated appearances as historic moments. The band embarked on 4 world tours, including 2 all-stadium tours. The most commercially impressive was the Where We Are tour, supporting Midnight Memories. It became the highest-grossing concert tour of 2014 and the highest-grossing tour by a vocal group in history, bringing in about $290 million. That number showed how online passion had become real-world economic power. One Direction's image as teen idols was central to their success, but it also came with pressure. Boy bands are often built around fantasy, relatability, and constant visibility. Fans want music, but they also want personalities, friendships, humor, and emotional access. One Direction delivered that through interviews, behind-the-scenes clips, live streams, and social media interactions. Their individual differences strengthened the group. Neil's warmth, Liam's steadiness, Harry's charisma, Louis's wit, and Zayn's distinctive voice and cool presence all helped create a balanced ensemble. But the same closeness that built loyalty also created unrealistic expectations. Every change in mood, hairstyle, friendship dynamic, or public statement could become a topic of intense debate. The band existed under a microscope during years when they were still very young. Their fame looked glamorous from the outside, but it required constant performance, not only on stage but in public life. In 2015, the biggest change in the group's history arrived when Zayn Malik left One Direction. His departure marked a turning point because the original 5-member chemistry had been part of the band's identity from the beginning. For many fans, it felt personal, almost like a chapter of their own adolescence closing unexpectedly. The remaining members continued as a 4-piece and released Made in the AM later that year, which became the final One Direction album before their hiatus. The album showed a more mature sound, with reflective songs that seemed to acknowledge transition, fatigue, and uncertainty. Zayn's exit also made visible the human cost of the band's pace. The group had spent years moving through albums, tours, and promotional cycles with extraordinary speed. For all their success, the situation raised a larger question: how long could a phenomenon this intense continue without a pause? In January 2016, One Direction began an indefinite hiatus, allowing all members to pursue solo projects. The word hiatus was important because it left the door open, but it also confirmed that the band's first major era was over. By then, they had sold more than 70 million records worldwide, making them one of the best-selling boy bands of all time. Their commercial achievements were enormous, nearly 200 awards, including Brit Awards, MTV Video Music Awards, Billboard Music Awards, and American Music Awards. They were named the world's best-selling artist of 2013 by the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, and Billboard named them Artist of the Year in 2014. Forbes ranked them among the highest-earning celebrities in the world. These were not just fan-voted symbols of popularity, they reflected a massive business built around music, touring, merchandise, and global attention. Another part of the One Direction story is what they did with their platform beyond entertainment. The band supported various charities, helping raise millions for causes including cancer research and autism. They also used their reach to spread awareness about global issues such as poverty and climate change. For a group with a young audience, that mattered. When pop stars speak about social causes, they can introduce topics to fans who might not encounter them through traditional news or institutions. Of course, charity work did not define the band as much as their music did, but it added dimension to their public role. Their influence was not limited to charts and ticket sales. They became part of how millions of young people experienced community, identity, and even activism. In that sense, One Direction's cultural footprint extended beyond the songs themselves. One Direction's legacy is built on a rare combination of timing and execution. They arrived when reality television could create instant familiarity, when social media could turn fans into promoters, and when global pop still had room for a classic boy band formula refreshed for a digital generation. They were manufactured in the sense that they were assembled by a show, but their success cannot be explained by manufacturing alone. Many groups are assembled, very few become stadium-level global phenomena. One Direction connected because they gave fans catchy music, distinct personalities, emotional accessibility, and a sense of shared momentum. Their hiatus turned each member towards solo careers, but the group's impact remains visible in modern fandom culture and pop marketing. They showed that a band could be born on television, powered by the internet, and still create moments big enough to fill stadiums around the world. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.